What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a hot minute and I'm super happy to be back. Today's vlog is going to be a nice little calm sit down Q&A answering a lot of the homeschool questions that I've gotten from you guys on TikTok, Instagram. I did a poll even asking to kind of make it easy and compile it in one area, but then I also did go back through and dig through some of the comments of videos I haven't made video responses to on TikTok, and I'm going to answer them here as well. So we'll kind of just have this as the main hub of like frequently asked questions as well as your own specific questions that I'm going to try and answer. So let's dive into it. So the first question that I wanted to answer, because I get this one a lot, is like schedule, routine, what does your day-to-day look like? So basically, it's not consistent. That's the short answer of it. I don't have any consistency to my week. And at the same time, I somewhat do. Like, I have structure and a schedule, but it's flexible because I just have to. I have too many kids and too many friends and too many needs in my own self and my own life that nothing can be scheduled in advance to the extent that I used to believe it could be. So basically, what does all that mean? My day-to-day is pretty similar, but when you look at it overall, it's not at all. So on a weekly basis, I try and get us out of the house at least once a week. We probably actually are out of the house twice a week though. We have one type of like outing that's with a group of moms and kids and stuff like that at minimum once a week. And then we also have outings of just grocery shopping and running errands. And on a day-to-day though, this is kind of a quick breakdown of what our school day time frame looks like. So all of us are up really early in the morning. We'll do breakfast around 7:30. Sammy heads out for work, and then the kids kind of just have free play while I get dressed. I, do my morning routine and all of that stuff. I clean up, I get everything put away in the kitchen. I'm currently going through the fly lighting cleaning method and trying to incorporate those tasks throughout the day. And so I'm trying to stay on top of one load of laundry in the morning before we start schoolwork and emptying the dishwasher if we remember to run it the night before. So I do those, and then I get dressed, I get everyone ready, I make my tea or fizz or whatever I have, and then Google Home will make an announcement at 8:50 to let everyone know throughout the house. You have a 10-minute cleanup timer going, go. And so that kind of signals to them without me needing to be the person and the voice to be like, let's go, wrap it up and everything. They know that, they start cleaning up, and that also gives me a signal of like, hey, we're coming down to that time of when we need to start, get everything going. So does the timer always work? No. But is it a good signal for them? And it kind of takes out the frustration of me needing to go to them and say, hey, you need to get started. Yes. So it's there. Sometimes we have to set up another timer because they hear it and they ignore it. That's okay. Sometimes we start at 9:15 instead of 9. It's all good. One of the biggest things that I've learned for myself, I came from a very, 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 very controlling home. My mother is neurotic and extremely like dictator controlling over everything in her life. And so the sooner I realized that and learned how to release the need for control when it came to stuff like school time and everything, the happier I was as a mom, the less frustrated I would get in situations like that. And I just could feel like the tension just like melting away. So I did. It took some time, but we're there. And so now little things like that, it's okay. I don't have to be so rigid with my schedule. I'm scheduled and structured, but flexible about it, if that makes sense. So between 9:15, we get started. We do our morning menu, we do a little bit of Bible, and then we dive into our lessons, about 15 minutes each per lesson per child. So I normally start off with Hayden, and then Beckham, and then bounce back to Hayden for math, and then Beckham for math, and then we take a break. We do snack, they go outside, we do lunch, everyone plays, I put the babies down for a nap, and then if we're home for the rest of the day and don't have errands to run, or it's not chaotic, or Sammy and I don't have other things where, I'm bailing and going to an appointment or something, we will get Treehouse Nature Study out and do that. If it's not, then we cut it. That's it. It's normally like a 2-hour window block that I have set aside for school time. That also is incorporating putting the baby down for a nap, grabbing snacks to have at the table, because everyone's always hungry all the time, including mom. Needing to stretch, needing to have breaks, needing to have giggle time. Like we're super relaxed about it. If we're getting too tense or frustrated, we take a break. We walk away, we find something to do. We'll do story time. I just bought the Yodo. I'm waiting for my cards to get here. I feel like that's gonna be a really good way to kind of just like woo-saw if we're getting too tense or frustrated. But even with all of that, when it comes to like schedule, I'm not forcing my kids to complete lessons. Sometimes they just need a day. Sometimes we just need a day. And so it's only fair to give them the space to say, I don't really want to do this today. I really wanted to color. Can I just color? Yeah, bud, go for it. You know, I really want to play with Play-Doh. Okay. Do you think you could like finish this lesson and then we can play with Play-Doh? Sometimes they say yeah. Sometimes they say no, I don't want to. And I'm good with that. Again, the control thing has been so controlling over my life that I needed to find a place where I could just go, it's all good. I have realized that they're not falling behind. They're right where they need to be, and I'm okay with that. They're incredibly smart, intelligent, amazing kids, and them not completing a lesson, I don't know, I'd even say once a week, it's not putting them behind. And the sooner that I realize that, again, the better I was able to be as a mom, as a friend, as a wife, as a person, and show up for them in a better way. So that is what the schedule, planning, all of that stuff looks like for us. Yeah. The second question that I get a lot is, how do you multitask with all the freaking kids that we have? For one, Judah goes down for his naps at 9 o'clock. Around that time when we're getting ready to start school, in that 10-minute timer window that I have, I will tell the kids, you know, finish cleaning up, get your morning menus out. And I kind of just, my only thing that I tell them is, I'm gonna put the baby down, please try and be quiet. That's it. And they're normally pretty good about it. Normally. They're not perfect, but normally. So I get Judah, we go upstairs, I put him down, and then I come downstairs and we get started. So that's one kid that's occupied. He's napping, and then we'll get started with everything. Zakiah does the morning menus with us, so he has his own morning menu. I give him his dry erase marker, he scribbles, hangs out. More often than not, because I have books in the other room and I have a couple toys laid out and stuff like that, he'll take off once we're done. He'll move on to something else, or he'll ask for a snack. And so he's a pretty independent kid. He can find something else to do, but every once in a while he'll know where like the sensory stuff is, and so he'll try and pull that out and he'll ask me, you know, can we do this? He'll have something in mind. So if I don't have something ready for him, or if I've seen like, oh, he's been playing with the truck all morning and everything, then I just make sure that that is out and put in the other room so he gravitates over there. He'll entertain himself. If not, then I just make sure that I kind of have things available. Chickadees is an incredible shop that I have so many resources from. She has a lot of sensory options as well that you can create sensory bins with. She has a subscription program too that you could do that too. And so I have a lot of her things, and so super easy. I have everything in my bins that I showed in this video, and you'll yeah, I just kind of keep it readily available, so that way if he asks for something, it just takes 2 minutes for me to be able to bring out the bin, dump in the sensory play stuff, add some, you know, utensils and whatnot for him to play with, put it at the table so I can still see him in the kitchen or the dining table, and he's good to go. Now, when we finish our morning menus and Bible and all of that stuff, I will tell Beckham, because he's my older one and he's reading and all that stuff, go into the living room, grab your library books, read some books and whatever, just kind of hang out. Play with Zeke, read to Zeke, just find something to do. Right now he's in his like coloring phase, so as long as he has a coloring book and colored pencils, he's like set. So I'll rotate. So let's say normally I start with Hayden. So Hayden does her language arts. She's got her booster cards. We do those for about 5 minutes where we work on everything. We move into the lesson, and then the lesson itself probably only takes 5 minutes. And then after that, she has our independent like section of the lesson where she has her own stuff to work on. So I read her the instructions, she works on it, and then I tell her, once you're done, you can get the iPad, and then we will do booster card games. So she'll finish that, she'll put her stuff away, she'll come get me. But when she starts her independent stuff, I move on to Beckham. He comes over, I get him started on his lesson. She'll come get me with the iPad when she's done and has her stuff put away. She gets to work on the booster card game. She takes that to the living room. She does that over there while I finish up with him. Then normally around the time that she's gone through all of the games, one time through, she's bored and done with it and has completed everything. So it's still good review because it's going through all of the booster card stuff that we've done so far. And they'll switch. So then she'll come get her math book out, he'll finish his independent stuff, and then can go back over there and work on the iPad on his booster card games, and so on. So then we move to math. Then because he's working on that, she'll finish her math, work on her independent stuff, he'll come over, do his. Once she's done, that's normally the time that, like, if it's nice outside, which we live in California, so 90% of the time it is, they'll go into the backyard with Honey, play with her for a bit, and then they'll just hang out there for basically until I get lunch ready. So we finish up math, everyone puts their stuff away, I clean up the table, wipe it down, and then I get started on making lunch. That's basically it. When it comes to the Treehouse Nature Study, I normally get that done because we do it collectively as a group. I swap that out on Sundays for the week lesson, so everything's already in the morning menu or the menu cover for the nature study pieces. And so we sit down at the table and we put on the song, we go through the whole routine. So it's nice and easy. And then if we, again, want to expand on it, then we do that together. But the nice thing is that we normally do that like pre-dinner when it's still nice and bright out, but before it gets too late, and it's done as a group. So there's not a lot of work and you don't have to multitask with that. That's basically it. That is how I do things. I shared a little bit in that other video of how we homeschool. Basically, just all the resources that I have and ways that I kind of keep them busy. So if you haven't seen that one, I would check that one out because that goes into details of showing you everything that I have as well. All right, so next question is, I get this one a lot actually about preschool. Like, how do you get started with preschool age kids? And it's really easy actually. You don't need curriculum, you don't need to do all those things. Take it from me, I spent way too much money on this stuff. So Zakiah is 2, going to be 3 next month. And I'm not doing any curriculum with him. I don't think that I'm even going to get the preschool curriculum for him from The Good and the Beautiful, because I have so many resources, and especially because he's younger, I think it might be different if your preschool age child is the first, because he's learning so much from just watching his siblings count out loud and go through their ABCs and all that stuff. But play really is the best way for them to learn. So I would say putting letters in front of them, whether it's from, you know, you could buy resources, you could buy things from Target, whatever. I have the this and that puzzles in the uppercase letters, the lowercase letters, the numbers. I love those because they're nice, chunky wood puzzle pieces. And I'll put those in some of his sensory bins and everything. And I just make sure that as I'm sitting down with him and the times that we have free time for the two of us too, that I, you know, point to the letter A. You can do things at the grocery store. You can talk about the, you know, what color is the apple? Green. What color is the lemon? Yellow. What color, you know, whatever is the tomato? Red. And little things like that, I feel like, from my experience with all of my kids so far, have been so impactful. And it makes it nice because when we go on outings, they are comfortable asking questions and showing me, Mom, let's count the apples. And it's just good practice. And it really helps instill that understanding that, like, anywhere you go in the world is an opportunity for learning in a fun way. It's not this like, oh, we have to do this here. It's something that they get to be inquisitive and curious everywhere that they go. So when it comes to preschool, I know that there's people that have, you know, they feel this pressure of like, my kid needs to be reading by this age. No, they don't. If you want them to, by all means, I fully support it. You know, if you're all about them being early readers and all of that stuff, then go for it. Find the curriculum, buy all the things, do all the stuff. But for me, it stressed me out. It overwhelmed me. It frustrated me. I was getting angry at them when it wasn't their fault. And I could see how it was affecting our relationship. And that's not worth it to me. None of my kids walked at 1. And they probably walked closer to 18 months. My oldest wasn't talking at 2, the way that certain people in my family thought he should be talking. At the same time, when he did start talking, the words that came from that kid, the vocab that he has was insane. And so they progress at their own pace. Once I had those realizations of like, my kids aren't stupid the way that other people made me feel because they weren't measuring up to these standards that were expected of them. And the minute that I was able to just let that go and realize, no, I know my kids better than some stupid standardization test and questionnaire at the pediatrician's office, I saw how incredible they were. And it made it easier for me to pour into them, to tell them and know it and mean it when we would speak affirmations over them of, you are smart, you are capable, because I saw it firsthand. So if you are starting preschool with your little ones, my biggest piece of advice is go at their pace. Don't allow that pressure to get to you, because you know your kids best. And they are smart, they are capable, they are strong, they are resilient. Even when you do screw up, they are gonna bounce back. So be good, be gracious to yourself too. But yeah, when it comes to preschool, make it fun, make it play. Don't worry about the curriculum yet. If you want the curriculum, by all means, grab it, go for it. But I don't see Zakaya being the type of person that's going to want to sit down to do lessons anytime soon, and I'm okay with that. That's my advice and tidbit and everything when it comes to preschool age, for sure. Okay, next one is the unschooling piece to it all. I've had a few people ask, how do you ease them into it? You know, they've either enrolled their kids in school or they tried homeschooling during the pandemic and you know, they couldn't handle it and whatnot, and so they put their kids back, but now they regret it. Those types of questions. I gotta be honest, I'm not entirely sure of the official definition of unschooling. At first, I had this idea that it was just this period of time that you kind of detox of the public school system, like their structure of how the days would work, so your kids kind of had the freedom to be kids again. But then I've also seen it used as like defined as a homeschool style. So some families are unschooling families. And so now I'm questioning everything because I don't fully understand the term. A lot of people have these questions because we know the school system is so structured and rigid with everything that they do. So we feel like we have to be prepared in this way, but it actually is super flexible. It's super easygoing and everything. I don't know how to ease that worry with words. It kind of is one of those things that you just figure it out as you dive into it. And I know that's probably not comforting, but I really don't remember how I got to this point except for trial and error. I think it's just kind of showing them that you could do things in a different way. That's my take. But again, like I said from the beginning, I don't have definitions of these things. I didn't even look into it. And I don't want to, honestly, because I feel like I have this tendency of when I have definitions of, you know, these categories that we could fit into, I subconsciously try to fit into a certain category, and I don't want to do that. So I kind of stay away from that. But in regards to helping the adjustment piece, I read the Call of the Wild and Free. That's an amazing, incredible homeschooling book. And then she just came out with the Wild and Free Family, and she talks about, well, there's just so much. I would just recommend reading that book too. And I think once you figure out what you want your family dynamic and everything to be, and you kind of also incorporate that into what your homeschooling, not style, but yeah, just the rhythm of how you want homeschooling to be for you and your kids and your family as a whole, it'll kind of fill in the gaps for everything else that you have questions about. You'll have an understanding of, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to travel a lot. I want to take them on the road. This is, you know, whatever. And then you kind of just start incorporating that, and then you start traveling, and then they see like, oh, this is how we're, you know, they kind of just get into the groove of things of like, all right, this is how things are going to work. I don't know if that was helpful, but I did want to answer it, at least with my understanding, because I'm not a professional at this at all. I'm just another mom trying to figure things out. But I do want to answer these questions because I don't want people thinking that I'm ignoring them. I just don't feel like I have a super professional answer for them. So that's the best I could give you. Okay, the next one that I got that I thought was super good. How do you make time for yourself? Now, this was something that Sammy actually brought up to me when we decided to homeschool. His question was, or concern was, like, I want you to make sure that you have time for yourself. I want you to be able to still maintain your own identity as Tay, not homeschooling mom, not homemaker, not wife, not, you know, friend of such and such, just as you. Child of God named Tay. Who are you? And, you know, don't let life get so overwhelming that you forget who you are. And so I do have to say, having a supportive partner has been pivotal for me and our homeschooling journey. I don't think I'd be successful at this if I didn't have Sammy in my life. He's outside with the kids right now, playing with them and everything while I do this. And he thankfully has the flexibility with work to be able to, you know, work from home if I want to go grab coffee with a friend in the morning. And so I just try and make sure that I incorporate those things. Now I know that not everyone has the flexibility for their spouse to help them in that way, but I would say I used to have a lot of mom guilt, and then I just kind of realized that like it's a necessity. I'm gonna take a hard pivot. I had a mom comment on one of my TikTok videos, and she was saying, after seeing this, I feel like such a failure. And I responded and told her, you know, my stories of the times that I felt like a failure and what I've done about it. And I went back and I looked at one of her videos, and she had a video where she was just crying, and it broke my heart. And she was talking about how she just feels like she needs a break. She just needs a break. And she went on to say how she can't go to her husband because he would get angry with her. And his normal response is, you know, what do you want me to do about it? You asked to have these kids. And my heart just, I know that this is a common thing that a lot of women go through, that they have partners that's how they respond. And one, I think that that's extremely problematic, that like you have partners that say you asked for these kids or they're your kids. Like it took two to tango. They are part yours too. And that's something, one, that obviously needs to be handled in therapy and stuff. But if I didn't have a supportive spouse like Sammy, I don't think I would be successful at this, because we need those breaks. It's okay to take breaks. If our husbands were in these positions, they would need breaks. People who work at daycares look forward to their breaks that they get at the end of the day, because it's a lot. It is a lot. And just because you wanted to have kids and you chose this lifestyle of homeschooling, you made that decision to educate your kids at home, does not mean that you're not deserving of a break. So I want to clarify that, because I know a lot of moms I see get a ton of hate for taking breaks and time away from their kids. I am fully supportive of the moms who need and do follow through with taking breaks and taking time for themselves. Stop feeling guilty about it. It's okay. It's necessary. And it makes you a better mom when you pour into yourself. We cannot pour from empty cups. And so you need to take the time to make time for yourself. Whether that's going to get your nails done, going to get your hair done, going to have coffee with a friend. I would suggest scheduling at least once a month, coffee with a friend or some type of meetup, going to get drinks or whatever is your cup of tea, and then also time for yourself on your own. Whether that's you going to a coffee shop and, you know, sitting with coffee and reading a book or something, going to get your nails done, you need to do something for yourself. So twice a month, there should be something that you do and incorporate into your monthly routine that you take care of yourself. I have enough things that I do between park meetups where I get to have conversations with moms and the kids are still with me, or coffee dates, FaceTime conversations. Like, I make it work, but I do make sure that I take time for myself. It's an absolute necessity if I want to be successful at everything that I'm doing with my family, for myself, everything that I have planned for the future as well. Taking time for myself needs to happen, and it does, and I make sure that it does. And in the times that I slack and I'm not making sure of it, Sammy picks up on it and he'll push me to go do something. So yeah, that's another conversation though. That's probably something where people need to discuss and, you know, go into the understanding of like therapy. Couples therapy is incredibly impactful if you're thinking about homeschooling, because you need to make sure that you're on the same page and that they understand that it's not just about, you know, the questions and conversations that you have don't revolve just around how are we going to socialize the kids, but it's also how are we going to manage everything to make sure that everyone in this family, including the mom who is teaching the kids, is mentally sound. All right, last question I'm gonna dive into for today before this gets way too long. Let's see. I've gotten the question of how did you start, and I have answered that question before, so I'm gonna link that video here. When do you have time to buy, plan, prepare all the things? Like during nap or night, I need help. So I kind of answered that a little bit throughout this video. But in regards to buying and preparing, so I said I plan all of our stuff Sunday night for about an hour. Tops is what it takes me to get everything like in a lesson plan and the planner written out. But when it comes to buying things, this is actually, everything that I have has been accumulated over the years. Seasonally, with season drops of small shops and stuff that I like to support, or ones that I've worked with, I've been gifted a lot of things too. So I have a lot of stuff that, a few things that have been gifted, a lot of things I've just bought over time. It's been, I think, 3, going on 4 years now of really diving into all of this. So it's taken some time. I know that I've like officially started homeschooling. This is the first year, but realistically, I've actually been doing this for about 3 to 4 years now. So I bought a lot of stuff in the beginning that I didn't need. Again, that's why I kind of explained that like play is the best thing for you and your kids, because you don't need all the things. But if you want all the things, I have all the things, and it is beneficial, and it really does come in handy later on as you start doing lessons, and as you're more familiar with that type of stuff of like, ooh, this would be great. One of the things that I love about The Good and the Beautiful is that at the end of the lessons for Hayden with her kindergarten curriculum, it'll give you ideas of different ways to help really like solidify the lesson, especially when it comes to like learning how to read words and stuff like that. In Beckham's book, there's a certain page of like sight words and stuff that he's supposed to learn and really understand with each unit. And it has like a circle that'll break it down into the different learning styles, and like it'll have like 15 ideas and recommendations of things that you can use to help them solidify those words. So between that and following a bunch of like other homeschooling moms and seeing how they get creative with lessons, I just have kind of grabbed different things because I liked seeing like, oh, I like how they incorporated that, or, you know, oh, their son had the same type of like issue with really like understanding this thing, and she said this was really, you know, helpful. And so I kind of just pick and choose what I think would work for us, what would be beneficial. And over the years, I just accumulate. Thankfully, there's not a ton of things that are really like big requirements. And so, yeah, it's just been one of those things when we're financially able to afford certain things that I've had my eye on, we also kind of incorporate those into like Christmas gifts, Easter basket things and such. And so it's nice because it's not a ton of like excessive spending. I just save it for holidays and birthdays and whatever else. Sometimes back to school shopping, but I know that that's not feasible for everyone. I would definitely recommend looking into, you know, like charter schools. I know that they provide funding and stuff like that too. I know you have to, from what I understand, you have to get approval for what's like acceptable to spend your funds on and such. So I don't know too much about that. I honestly, you'd have to look into that and look into your charter school specifically and what they offer and what they allow and don't allow. But yes, an accumulation throughout the years of all the stuff that we have. If you guys have questions about anything that I discussed, if you have, you know, you want more detail or for me to dive deeper into certain things that I talked about, or if you want to do stuff on something outside of the homeschool topic, I'd love to do that too. Definitely want to expand this channel to not just be solely dedicated to homeschooling, but I know that that is a really big piece of a lot of people's lives right now, just doing the research, and I definitely want to provide that stuff for you guys too. So ask away, let me know what you think. I hope that this was insightful and helpful for you guys, encouraging as well, always trying to just be humble, open, and transparent in this space with you guys to let you know that I'm just an imperfect mama trying to figure things out as I go and share my journey along the way. So with that said, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you are following me on the socials so you can check out the other videos that I've created about answering a lot of these questions too, especially on TikTok, and I will see you guys next week.